Good morning, everyone. Today is Sunday, the 8th of August, and here comes your daily news brief brought to you by Lyre Media. So today we're going to be starting with actually a few subjects that we've been over before, notably the Greece fires and a few other things. So forgive the current video title, I still need to change that up a little bit. It will be changed up after the live. Currently it's just news. So the UK has actually sent firefighters to help with the Greece wildfires, and things are getting rather worrisome there as the wildfires have now reached Athens, which is of course more than devastating, and it's even named apocalyptic by The Guardian. Now, staying in the EU, we have a few other pieces of information happening there. There has been more riots in France and Italy as they start to validate the vaccine passports, and Italy has now fully rolled out its green card, which is their version of a vaccine passport. France has a lot more riots going on, and they have thousands protesting in many cities over the new laws that are being put in place with the vaccine passport there. Now, there's another thing happening in the EU, so just the general European Union, which is quite troublesome at the moment, which is the fact that a lot of benefits that have been given over the past to EU citizens are now being cut starting next month. So the entire list of that I won't go through, but let's just say it's quite a large one. Now, this brings us over to the US this time, because there's been a lot happening in the United States recently. Well, to start with something a bit positive, SpaceX's Starship, so the biggest rocket ever made, has now been mounted onto its booster. So that's getting ready for a first orbital launch. And this is not only the biggest man-made rocket, well, the biggest rocket in human history, it's also the first entirely reusable one. So SpaceX has got a lot going for it there. So that's quite a good piece of information. Now, there's been a little hiccup on a Joe Biden speech recently, the President of the United States, where he claimed that 350 million Americans have been vaccinated, which is 20 million more than the entire population of the United States. So that was a bit of a little hiccup there. And remaining in the United States, there's been a lot of problems, and specifically related to the possible Trump rejoining office, in the sense that he wants to become president again, and a lot of his supporters are becoming slightly enthusiastic about it. And the US government has now issued an alert over the threat of violence that is tied to conspiracy theories apparently spread by Donald Trump and his supporters. Now, this also brings us back to something that happened previously, which was when the Capitol riots were happening, and an off-duty Seattle police officer was fired after the assault happened, simply for standing by and letting it happen instead of acting. So that's just all of that. And it's Sean Spicer who claims that Trump will run for president again in 2024. Now, speaking of political matters related to the Trump and Biden administrations, the US has now sent two B-52 bombers into Afghanistan to stop the Taliban offensive that has now already taken over two strategic towns in the country as the US troops have been pulling out. So just as they're pulling out, the Taliban's just take the cities back, is basically what's been happening. And there's footage of them joyriding in American-made Humvees and so on. So that brings its share of trouble. Now, on a more different piece of sad information in the US, the famous Central Park owl, Barry, the beloved owl, was sadly hit by a maintenance vehicle and died while searching for food a few days back. So, bye-bye, Barry. You will be missed. And now that brings us to our last piece of information for the US, and actually, well, this is kind of global, I guess, but Edward Snowden has now joined in the battle against iPhone's screening, this photo screening that we spoke of recently, and he specifically joined in after Apple was insulting the privacy activists as the screeching voices of the minority, is as it's quoted. And Snowden has very much been active and joining in on the actions against this, which is a remarkable sign, because usually when he joins in on something, it means that he has quite a lot of information about it. That's how it's been going on recently, at least. So it'll be very interesting to see how that goes. Now, the Olympics have been interesting, so I'll just mention a few words about them. There's been a lot of unexpected turns of events, and that's definitely led to a lot of people kind of questioning a few things. Notably, one of the main things, is the fact that there's been medals awarded to countries who were maybe not as expected as others, which is honestly quite a nice thing, because very often people kind of have this preset mindset of who's going to win what, and it's turned out that that's not quite the case this year. So that's interesting. And, to continue with a little bit of interesting information, the former President Zuma of South Africa was hospitalized from prison after his jailing, after he was put in prison, led to the worst riots in South Africa, that South Africa has seen in many years, and he's now been put in hospital. So there's that piece of information that we will have to see how things evolve from there, because of course he was put in prison for corruption, so I will have to see what further news happens on that line to be able to give you more information. And yes, one thing's for sure, Italy has definitely been winning a lot recently. They won the Eurovision, they won the Euros, and now they've also won the 4x100 meters relay. So Italy has definitely been doing good for themselves, so kudos to Italy. You have a lot of good things going on, a lot of good little victories. Well, big victories actually, I should say. So, we'll see how things evolve. Let's all just hope that the fires in Turkey and Greece will settle down and calm off, because it's become very devastating. And let's just hope that the USA calms down as well. Until then, I hope everyone has a lovely Sunday, and I will see you tomorrow for tomorrow's news brief. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you feel like it, you can always share around as well. Thank you. Bye-bye.